Well, hi guys! Welcome to Historian Stitch, or welcome back to Historian Stitch. The other night on Facebook, while warning everybody that there were going to be a bunch of videos suddenly posted to YouTube, I had mentioned doing a video today on treadle machines, how to set them up. We're going to wind the bobbin. I'm going to show you how it works, and we're going to talk a little bit about the finicky things that I have learned along the way, because there are a few things like the tension on 3 different parts of a treadle machine, and replacing the belt is a little weird, and where you have to oil everything at least once a month is a little odd, and there's just a couple little things, but I love these machines. They work like a charm. My old lady here is a white machine. She is roughly an 1887 one, at least based on the table that she is sitting in, which this bit right here I adore. It is a measuring stick built into it. I love it. She came with all the drawers. There was stuff in the drawers when I got her, with the exception of like the instructions. I had to find those on my own, and technically they don't even go to this particular machine, but this is a bullet shuttle machine, so that is the bobbin that goes underneath. It is shaped that way so it will actually catch, which one of the finicky things that I learned a little while ago is modern needles for machines are shorter than the old ones. So I had, when I replaced the original old one that came with this one, with this machine, I had to drop the needle down just a little bit. I swore up and down the timing was off on it. I was wrong. It was the needle. I just had to make it a little bit longer so that the thread would actually catch. But with that, let me see if I can figure out how to set the camera up so that y'all can see. And we are going to put the thread on. And first and foremost, we have to wind the bobbin. One thing I have learned about the treadle machine here is you do have to have a couple of things. One being a flathead screwdriver around pretty well consistently, whether it's a bigger flathead like, oh geez, this one, or I have a bunch of very small ones in one of the drawers here that I just keep around. I also keep a awl here, not for poking holes in the fabric like it's intended to be used for, but you cannot go backwards on a treadle machine. If you do, it will be very angry and you're going to break it. Which means you can't reverse stitch and then forward again to tie the knot that you usually can on a modern machine. So you have to be able to pull the threads through and tie it yourself if you're even bothering, because a lot of the stitches historically are going to be covered up by another part of the garment anyway, so they're going to be just as strong being left alone. I tend to tie things off though because I don't necessarily trust it. So I leave the awl here so I can pull up a stitch and tie it together and be done. But yeah, let me figure out how I'm going to do this, and we'll keep on going. Alright, so first and foremost, you have to get your thread, figure out what color it is you want. Do not do what I have just done. Nope, let go. Let go. Okay. Don't do this. I already had it set up, thought I was going to be smart and just have it ready to go, and now it's not releasing. Let go. But when you are ready to wind your bobbin, there's a little knob right here that is your thread guide. You wrap it once around that. Make sure your bobbin is wound a few times over, that way it won't come undone when you start winding it. There's a little knob or a little opening right here. You knock the thread through. That's the guide to make it go back and forth, so you're not just winding thread in one spot. I already have it engaged, So to engage it, this is the bobbin winder unengaged. You can see the belt isn't attached to anything there. It'll just move freely and run nothing but this part. But you push that back, lock it into place with the wheelie bit here. Make sure it is spinning the right direction and connected. It just locked into place, so it'll spin the way it's supposed to. I think we're doing good. So, my next step is to start treadling. I usually try to get it started in the upright position, the pedal started there, and you get it started with your hand, that way you know it's going. Once you've wound it, there's a little release right there to pull the bobbin out, disengage that. The cool thing about this particular machine is it does have a thread cutter right here. So now that my bobbin's wound, comes the shuttle. You drop it in, pull it up and back down. You're basically making a backwards 9 almost. The trick with the bobbin, and it took me a while to figure this out because she kept skipping stitches and I couldn't figure out why. You want it loose enough that you can pull the thread easily, but if you just hold it like this, it doesn't let loose, essentially. From there, you want to make sure that the holder is up front where you can get to it, drop it in, that's done. But we still need this part threaded. So you still leave it in the tension bit there. There's a knot or a notch that the thread catches in this silver part at the bottom. Draw it up to the arm, pull it through there, back down. There's a little catch at the bottom before the needle, and when it comes to the needle, the eye of it needs to be facing the body of the machine, not facing you. If it is facing you, it will not catch and it won't stitch anything. With it set up this way, as the shuttle passes forward, it will catch the thread, versus modern machines, it's a whole other combination. Cooperate. Once you've got it threaded, just pull it through, make sure that bottom thread is pulled up, just like on a modern machine, and that's it. With the exception of always make sure that that is covered. If it's not, your material will drop through into the underworkings of the machine and screw a lot of things up. I've done that once. I never want to do it again. It scared me a little. But from there, the way this lovely bit works, yeah, I don't want to use batting. Where's my material? There's some material. The way a treadle machine works is, treadling is you are pedaling the machine. So down underneath, if I can get this contraption to release, down underneath, that is your foot pedal. I end up using both feet to make it go faster and smoother. She doesn't fight back quite as much, but it's a pretty heavy piece of equipment. But that is attached to a bar that is on the other side here that turns this wheel. That is your drive wheel. That is what gets everything going, hence the drive belt being attached to it. It works up through to here, and that's what makes the machine run. So that is what makes it a treadle machine. When it comes to oiling it, you definitely want to hit the parts down here at the bottom, especially where it attaches to the pedal, because it's a metal on metal spot. Same with both sides of the pedal itself. I always make sure that I get the gears or the opening here around the wheel well. And I try to get where the drive bar attaches to the drive wheel, but doesn't always work. There's usually oil everywhere. But then there's all of these parts of, everywhere there's a little opening or a hole to put something in, that is where you want to put oil, even in these spots here. That one gets clogged pretty easily, but that one especially goes to everything under the machine. You definitely want to do that one. But there are 8 spots to oil on this one. But basically, like we did to begin with, is there no spot that'll tear? I need a bigger chunk than that. Yes. Again, you are always moving the wheel forward, so towards you. Drop the presser foot down. You can do corners, same way you do with a modern machine. You make sure the needle is left down, pick up the presser foot, keep going. And then when you're done, pull it through, cut your threads, that's it. Pretty straightforward. They are actually easier machines to use than modern ones a lot of times. But you can tell a vague difference in stitching between modern and an old treadle machine like this. But this one gets used a lot for skirts and stuff, especially with my 1850s, 1860s stuff. But if the modern machine over here decides to throw an absolute fit, I usually end up working on the treadle machine anyway. She will go through just about everything. The only problem is if you pull it too hard, that tiny little hole in the middle of the dog teeth there is where the needle drops through as you are stitching, just like this. If you pull on the material in just the wrong fashion, or you are sewing through some pins and it knocks into that, it will break the needle and there will be shards flying everywhere, such was the case with, if it'll focus on it, this needle. This was the original one that came with it, and it died a terrible death. But of all the things that have been finicky about this particular machine is you have to be careful messing with the tension on the machine itself. You can loosen it, you can lengthen it, or tighten it. I have to leave this one between 3 and 4, basically, because if I move it anywhere else, it's a bad time. Old lady gets very angry. But the cool thing about these is there's a lengthening and shortening for your stitches as well, which is what this little bit right here is, it took a while to get it clean enough, but I think you can just barely see it. There are numbers for how long or short those stitches are, so the bigger the number, the shorter the stitch, the smaller the number, the longer the stitch, at least in the case of this particular machine. Aside from that, the most finicky is the needle size. Replacing the belt is actually really easy. You just still need that awl, but that's also why I keep a pair of needle nose pliers here. The belts have a, let's see if I can pull it up here, staple in them, and that is how you get them together. They come far longer than what you really need. So you take the old belt off, you put this one in its place, measure it out, cut it off where it needs to be, which is why there's still a little bit of a mark, dark mark right there. Poke through with your awl or a rather sharp object. I think I used a pin for that originally. Put that staple through, pinch it down, and it will last forever. I still have the old belt because technically it is still usable. I just feel better using the newer one rather than the old one that I don't know how old it is. I'm not sure it ever got replaced. But yeah, with that, that is your treadle machine, some finicky things about it, and yeah. I love these machines. I highly recommend them. One of these days I want to get a hand crank one as well, but that one probably won't be used near as often as this lovely old lady. So, with that, everybody have a good day, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.